Flying is one of the safest ways to travel until it's not. What if I told you that a simple miscommunication led to the deadliest crash in aviation history, or that a perfectly good plane suddenly vanished without a trace? Airplane disasters are rare, but when they happen, they leave behind haunting questions, shocking mistakes, and heartbreaking stories. Because of the latest incident in America, today we're diving into the 5 worst airplane disasters of all time, examining what went wrong, how they could have been prevented, and the eerie final moments for those on board. Some of these tragedies changed aviation forever, while others remain surrounded by mystery. Welcome back to the skies. 2 massive Boeing 747s, a foggy runway, tragic misunderstanding. On March 27, 1977, Pan Am Flight 1736 and KLM Flight 4805 found themselves on a collision course at Los Rodeos Airport in Tenerife. But what happened? A misunderstanding between the pilots and air traffic control led to a disaster so horrifying that it's still the deadliest in aviation history. KLM's captain mistakenly thought he had clearance for takeoff. Meanwhile, Pan Am plane was still taxiing on the same runway, hidden by thick fog. The question for you: should there be a mandatory language protocols for all pilots worldwide to prevent something like this from happening again? Let us know in the comments. In the end, 583 people lost their lives when the two 747s collided in a fiery explosion. The few survivors described it as hell on earth, a massive fireball, smoke so thick they could hardly breathe, and passengers desperately trying to escape the wreckage. This tragedy forced major changes in aviation communication, including stricter standard phraseology to avoid fatal misunderstandings. One moment, Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 was cruising smoothly. The next, it was gone. On March 8, 2014, a Boeing 777 carrying 239 people took off from Kuala Lumpur heading for Beijing. About an hour into the flight, it vanished from radar without a trace. No distress call, no mayday, just silence. To this day, no one knows for sure what happened. Satellite data suggests the plane took a sharp turn off course and flew for hours over the Indian Ocean before disappearing. Was it mechanical failure, hijacking, or something more sinister? Wreckage eventually washed up on remote beaches, but the black box was never been recovered. Without it, we may never know the full story. What do you think happened to MH370? Drop your theories in the comments. And coming up, a disaster that could have been prevented with just $2 worth of repairs. Imagine surviving a massive explosion mid-air, only to spend hours waiting for rescue that never came. Japan Airlines Flight 123 took off on August 12, 1985, with 524 people on board. Just 12 minutes into the flight, a critical piece of the tail section failed due to a botched repair job from 7 years earlier. That $2 worth of missing rivets caused an explosion and decompression, ripping apart the plane's hydraulics. The pilots fought desperately to regain control, but the aircraft was doomed. For 32 agonising minutes, passengers knew they were going to crash. Some even wrote final messages to their families. When the plane slammed into the mountainside, 520 people died instantly. But here's the shocking part: there were survivors. 4 passengers somehow made it through the wreckage, and even worse, the rescuers didn't arrive until the next morning due to bureaucratic delays. Could more lives have been saved? Many believe so. And next up, a disaster that shook the entire world live on TV. It wasn't just an aeroplane, it was a space shuttle. On January the 28th, 1986, the Challenger shuttle lifted off, carrying 7 astronauts, including Krista McAuliffe, the first civilian schoolteacher in space. Millions watched live as the shuttle soared into the sky, and then, 73 seconds later, it exploded. The cause? A failed O-ring seal on one of the solid rocket boosters, a flaw that engineers knew about but were pressured to ignore. As the world watched in horror, the shuttle disintegrated, killing everyone on board. To this day, NASA considers this one of its darkest moments. But here's the terrifying part. Engineers had warned about the danger the night before. If NASA had delayed the launch, would those 7 astronauts still be alive? What do you think? Should agencies prioritise safety over deadlines, no matter what? And before we reveal the final disaster, one that changed how every modern aircraft is built, make sure to hit that like button if you find this video fascinating. A routine flight, an unexpected storm, a chilling series of mistakes. On June the 1st, 2009, Air France Flight 447 was en route from Rio de Janeiro to Paris. The Airbus A330 hit turbulence over the Atlantic, and suddenly the autopilot disengaged. But here's where things went horribly wrong. The pilots, confused by faulty speed sensors, made a deadly error. They pulled the nose up instead of levelling the plane. This led to a stall at 38,000 feet and a slow, uncontrolled descent into the ocean. The aircraft disappeared without a trace for 2 years. When the wreckage was finally found, investigators discovered that the pilots never realised what was happening. They had minutes to correct the stall, but never did. The lesson: even modern technology can't replace proper training. This disaster forced major reforms in pilot training and aircraft sensors, ensuring this mistake would never happen again. Flying is one of the safest ways to travel, but when things go wrong, it turns deadly. Which of the 5 disasters shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments. Hi pilots, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and leave your thoughts in the comments, and we'll catch you on the next flight.